Hello and welcome to another brief demonstration of new features in development for the Neon release of the Eclipse Papyrus project. Today we'll be looking at overriding the synchronization of diagrams. So last time out we looked at an example of synchronizing state machine diagrams. So let's start with a brief recap of that. So let's say I have two capsules in my fake UMLRT language. And this capsule has a very simple state machine defining its life cycle. So what I shall do is start by creating a subclass of that capsule. And now automatically that capsule is synchronized from its superclass. It gets a state machine that looks just like the parent. So in fact, if I create a new state machine diagram on that, I can see that it looks just the same. Now, for clarity's sake, let's just split this editor into two. So we can see, there we are, and immediately we can see that certain characteristics of this diagram are fully synchronized, such as the size of the state machine frame. I can add other contents, such as states. Always have to click twice the first time. Final state. I can draw a transition. And there we go. We're filling out the details of the redefining state machine. And we see, in fact, redefinition relationships like these. So this redefines the transition from the parent state machine. This state redefines the state from the parent state machine, and so on. So let's continue until we've got something that looks like we might want to save it. Another state, whatever. Okay, so that's all good. Now, any changes that I make in the layout, etc., of this diagram are reflected in the synchronized diagram over here. But I can also customize the layout so that now, because if I want to introduce new elements, for example, in this redefining state machine, I want to be able to change the layout there. So now any further changes that I make to the layout of this state over here are now no longer reflected in its counterpart over here. And that's all good. Now similarly, if I change details of the semantics, such as here I give this a name like that, the name over here is changed to reflect that, but I can override that like so, and then changes are no longer synchronized between these counterparts. So that's making exceptions to the synchronization of notational layout and semantics in the state machines. But what if I come back to this diagram again later? The editor, when it wakes up, it discovers it has these state machines to synchronize, and so it synchronizes everything. So we're kind of back to square one, which isn't where we want it to be. So let's fix that. So the latest development, which is the entire point of this demonstration, is persistence of information about what is overridden in the synchronization of these diagrams. So as before, we can see that initially we start off with stuff being synchronized. But if I come here to, for example, put some new content in here, I don't like the size of that. We can see that is no longer synchronized. And if I give this a name like so, then that is no longer synchronized from here. And even if I change this to have a different source, I can see that now this transition is sourced on state 2. This one is sourced on 1. Okay, so let us close the editor and open it again. Now we see that our overrides are still respected. This transition is still sourced on state 2, whereas this one is on the correspondent of this state. The layout here is still not synchronized, of course. This is, as we would expect. So is this. If I redirect this, then that one changes. I can undo. If I redirect this, then that one does not change, even though this transition here still properly redefines this transition here. So there you have it, overriding the synchronization of diagram layout and semantics in state machines in the Neon release of the Eclipse Papyrus project. Thank you.